Good day, friends. We are here for episode 12-ish? 13? Why am I so bad at these things? Episode 13 of the Comp Queen with me, Cassie. Excited that you're here today. I hope we get plenty of people joining because RJ pulled an audible on me this morning and said, hey, do you want to go 30 minutes early? And I said, okay, we will do this. I am hoping and expecting a lot of viewers today with some recent changes, which I'll go over here in a minute. If you are on Facebook and you are not registered for StreamYard, please register so I can see who you are. I mean, I love addressing you by name. I love knowing who I'm dealing with. And also if there's any follow-up, I know who it's going to, so on and so forth. But yes, Facebook user, let's go. So please register for StreamYard and then I can see your actual name right there if you're watching via Facebook. Oh, hey, Joey. Hey, Angel. And my biggest fan, Mr. Robert Blaine, is with us today, joining us from wherever he resides. It's my mystery fan. For longtime followers and listeners, you know why this is extra funny. But yes, prop stream died. So before we get into that, let's just do some housekeeping items. What I typically like to do here on the Comp Queen is open the episode up by letting you guys all join in, and any comps that you have that you want to see me comp live for you, I love for you to put them in the chat so I can start writing them down. And when we start digging into comps, I can go ahead and dig into those comps with you and show you live, let you know my thought process, so on and so forth. So we're here to be a resource for you, and just let you pick my brain on those things. So active chat feed is what I seek. I also want all of you to smash those like buttons, so you'll probably hear me say that a few times throughout the episode. Juanero S. Hello to you too, good sir. Again, Facebook user, what up? I'm assuming it's a different Facebook user almost every time. So I'm happy to be here, happy to be a resource for you guys. And with that being said, I also like to go over my basic appraisal rules right before I jump into comps. But today, I'm going to take a little side note nation, and we're going to talk about the elephant in the room. For those of you who do not know, typically speaking, being that we're a nationwide company, we use multiple tools. And I like to show those tools. Not all of our followers are strictly using Batch necessarily, which is our go-to for everything. Using Batch changed our business overall before they even had a comp tool. So before they had a Driving for Dollars app, and everything that they put out, they just are constantly putting out upgrades and keeping their products up with the times, right? Was no different with the comp tool. Came out about, I believe, October of 2020, and I've watched a lot of these comp tools grow up, and I was very attached to some other ones that we had previously used throughout the years. Hi, Mustache Mike. What up? So that being said, I was, prior to utilizing Batch's comp tool, like I said, it's been out for just about a year and a few months, advanced at a faster pace than I've ever seen another tool like this, just because of what the ownership at Batch has put into it, and it very quickly became my go-to, not just because we are typically in Batch already, because that's what we use for our lists, our data, as well as SMS, dialer, etc. So it made a lot of sense. So soon, after a couple of upgrades, it was right there along with every other tool that we had used. However, your girl here, be comping stuff 100 times a day, was very used to the navigational aspects, right? The user interface, as those of you who are a little bit more savvy in lingo with these things might call it, I was very attached to the user interface of PropStream. RJ was kind of attached to the user interface of Propelio. If you're a first time follower here on this show, then you might not know that for the past couple of months, I think after my first or second episode of going live and doing this, Propelio's nationwide comps went down. So I would typically highlight, what comps I'm seeing and how to utilize Propelio, PropStream, and Batch, because not all of our followers are utilizing just Batch. And we're nationwide, so we've always used multiple tools. There was a point in time where you couldn't get on one of these tools and comp, like PropStream, for example, used to just, when it first came out, be all West Coast. Like we couldn't even use it here in Texas. We were only Propelio here in Texas. So over the years, we got used to having multiple tools. We're nationwide. We do real estate in Alaska, Hawaii, and so on and so forth. So that being said, I understand the dynamics that go into and what you have to do to build a tool this comprehensive. So I was really used to, after that, utilizing PropStream for comps. Just because I would compare and contrast for a couple of years, PropStream and Propelio comps. Once Propelio went nationwide and PropStream was nationwide. And elephant in the room today is I am no longer able to do that. I'm sure you'll see, maybe some of you have seen RJ's recent video. We are not currently and maybe ever going to be able to again, from my understanding, we were told never be able to again, be able to pull comps off the MLS and PropStream. That being said, what that does for me is that leaves me with my tool, which is my Batch comp tool. That's all I'm going to showcase. And I'm not going to spend our time going back and forth comping just actives and pendings, or just public data, and all of these nationwide properties that you guys submit, because I'm not doing it in-house. So in the interim, I've been the past 24 hours kind of still pulling PropStream up now that they took it away. And I honestly have like a little bit of an issue with the fact that they just yanked it. There was no warning. And I'm not going to go into the details why, because I don't feel like that's my job to disclose on here what I may or may not know. And I don't know if that would get me in any trouble. I'm not as crazy as RJ. So you can kind of look at his. So with that being said, I'm going to read through the comments. I've got one here with Facebook user. I'll go ahead and write this down, but just so you know, I cannot address you by name. Don't know who you are. Reisterstown Road. If you're watching on Facebook and you do not register with StreamYard, I can't see you. So I'm just going to call you Facebook user because that's what I got. 3-1. All right. Let's see. Hello, Mr. Hopkins. Good to see you here. Lonnie, hi. How are you? Good to see you guys here. Got some fun exercises for today. Good. Let's see. 212. Oops. Samson. I do love when you guys give me some of these, which I could already see why they may or may not be difficult. Seaside Heights, New Jersey. It'll give us first time ever. Good to see you here. Welcome, welcome. Welcome to the show. We're about to be getting into some comping. I'm just writing these down so I don't have to go through and search through the chats. Oregon Avenue, St. Louis. Thank you, Mr. Robles. I need to see how you run these comps on Batch because I'm really used to PropStream. I 1000% understand your pain. And look, I am saying this as a human being, raw, right in front of you. I love everything batch. And it took me a minute to switch over just because when you get used to using a software super fast, it just took me a little bit longer to comp on batch. Everything on batch was perfectly fine. So what I would always end up doing would be like I would pull up prop stream. I would always have batch and prop stream pulled up, to be honest with you. This is just me being raw and transparent. I have loved Propelio, I have loved prop stream, and I have loved batch. However, for the first 6 or so months of batch's comp tool, I would just have it pulled up as a backup. Like I would be split testing the comps. And so when I would see a comp that I'm not seeing over here, you'll hear me say a lot in this show, one of these things is not like the other. So it would be an indicator to me to go look further into that to see if that was a true comp. Or, you know, I'm split testing, compare and contrast, right? But it would always be my backup, and I would always have it up. So I was always knowing how well it was advancing as a comp tool and so on and so forth. I mean, I've said it several times on this show. I mean, it became the more and more, honestly, it had something to do with some of their updates. By updates, I'm talking about the user interface updates that we have discussed with Batch, that we have liked to see, because it allows us to just use it better, like faster, not better. It's not ever been a subpar tool to me. It just took me a minute to get used to the user interface. So I'm so happy to be able to show that to you, because it took me a little bit longer to transition over, even though it was quicker for us because it was right there where we're already marketing, you know, and this is coming from someone who absolutely loves everything batch, you know. So yeah, I'm so here for that, because that's the point of this. It's to help you speed up, be more effective, more efficient at running numbers and comping so that you can get offers made faster, etc. Good day, Miss Lori. Good to see you. Propelio's comps nationwide went down. They are still in Texas. I cannot elaborate that because it has not been an option to comp nationwide in Propelio for months now. I cannot comment on that because they did not do the same thing as PropStream. I will say that. I mean, they could have, but highly doubtful, being that if the information I have is accurate, even if they did it for the same reasons, it's two completely unrelated incidents to my understanding. So, no more PropStream, my love. No more PropStream. Hearing that all the MLS sold and failed listings will be removed from all third parties. That is not accurate. How do we register with StreamYard? I think it's the last link on Facebook. You like how I had to wait for RJ to answer that? It's been so long since I did it. You only have to do it once. 1850 Ivy Lane, Tallahassee. Duplex with no batch comps, so you get the same. Use 1% rolled back on the ARV. What would you do? Okay, so also, guys, when it comes to, I'll talk about this when we comp this property. How about that? 685 Pearl Street. And I'm going to try to actually move as quickly as possible through these today, because we've got a lot of submissions here. And sometimes if I do too much teaching and too much analysis versus comping, yes, Angel, that is correct. As I was saying, if I do too much teaching, not enough comping, then I don't get as many comps in, first and foremost. And then there's a whole set of people will start to ask about analysis of the deal. And it's like, well, what kind of condition is it in? Or in that case, is it tenant occupied? What's the rents? Are they month to month, long-term tenants, etc.? So I don't always go into that analysis piece. And I may transition this into that someday. But as of right now, we're here to get them comps done. How can we know for sure that batch will not be impacted with losing MLS comps? Well, nothing in this life is for sure, my darling, but I have it on good information.
They told us so.
They told us. That, look, as of right now, we'll let you know if anything changes. First time here. Hello, Facebook user. Good to see you. I'm so glad you're here. Hello, Mr. Boyd. Good to see you. My new TikTok follower. Hey, guys, follow me on TikTok. Titanium Cassi. Knowing you on the end of Cassi. Spelled just like it is on this show. I've recently decided that that's going to be the easiest way for me to start getting my content that's not this regular and just kind of documenting the journey. I got a lot of things to say and a lot of things to do up in this world. Props to you. Yes. I wish you would register for StreamYard because this comment. Heck yeah, Prop Stream pulled some shit for show. I was sad about it. I have been, even though I'm like legitimately, I cannot say this with more enthusiasm. I am a batch girl. I have had people, I am so a batch girl that I have had people ask me if I'm one of the owners of batch. Okay. I am not an owner of batch, but I love batch. And I was still very much a big supporter of Prop Stream. I did not like that. I did not like that. Mr. Brown spoke to my rep at batch. They said they won't be affected by it as user. Yeah, they won't. Comps and deeper analysis. Tenant. Oh, what? I'm guessing is that the Pearl Street, Michael, or it's hard for me to do a deeper analysis without having more information. I need the occupancy status. I need the rent rates. If there are occupants and the condition, general condition to do a full analysis. I have not had issues. So I do know that if you have issues switching over to batch 10 DLC, that is an issue that will be experienced across the board through any SMS platform. I do have that on good authority, and most instances, I have had one exception, one student. If your numbers are frozen, you are missing a piece of paperwork, you submitted a wrong piece of paperwork, and it's plugged it up. And as far as transitioning over for that registration, they will submit what you submit, and it gets pushed back to them by the, what do you call it? FCC. I wanted to say in my ADD brain, FDIC, not, it's just FCC. I like to mix up the words. So we have not had those issues at all. I think we went through a very short transition period where our numbers were frozen. So I would reach out to my account manager regarding that because, you've either submitted a piece of paperwork wrong or something else. We did have one student, he happens to be watching today, hi, that had a whole week-ish where they do not know why it got held up, and they had to move it to the top of the priority list, and they had their paperwork right, I believe. Or maybe they submitted one wrong the first day. I don't really remember, but it did get held up way longer than I was supposed to for them, and that was unfortunate, but they fixed it as expediently as they possibly could. So if you are having trouble with it, make sure that you're paying attention to your emails. You get them anything that they need expediently. and pivot in the meantime. Make sure that you are at least dialing or calling, even if it's hand dialing. Just stay in front of your leads, stay in front of your people, because it is a little bit of a frustrating thing when you're consistently used to marketing in that way, and then you have to just like halt if that is your only form of marketing. That becomes very frustrating. I mean, it became frustrating for us to even have to wait for 5 seconds because we're impatient people and we have our business set up, and none of us like to have to pivot until it is done and the results are better. Like, nobody likes that time period when you have to be patient. So I do understand it, but that would be my advice. How long does it take you to comp with batch? Do you comp on the phone with the seller? Absolutely. I will have an offer to seller very quickly. It takes me way longer to comp on this show than it ever takes me to comp in person. But typically speaking, again, it depends on the market. And I mean, I can comp in literally 45 seconds, and sometimes it'll take me 5 minutes. So we'll dig in, and I'll at least try to do a couple where I am not like teaching throughout so that it comps faster. And I'll try to explain afterwards. Whoops. For goodness gracious. I got all kinds of comps in here. 412 South 19th, Newark. I know. I mean, it's not my fault that PropStream decided to take a dump yesterday. Oh, down the line, the address I gave today. Sorry. See, that's what happens when I try to go through 19th Street. Okay. That's what happens when I try to go through my comments really quick so I can get the comping. But yeah, I know that analysis piece, but the reason I don't quite do it yet is, one, we teach people how to analyze the right way in our education program. And it's a very detailed process with very many layers, and it's very difficult to do that for you guys live. We've thought about potentially figuring out a way to do it on the analysis piece for like the general public on our on our platforms here. But it's a little bit complicated because I don't want to give you guys the wrong number. You have multiple exit strategies, and you have to give me multiple layers of information. I mean, our students, our Crucible Titans here know this. I have a whole template I expect them to fill out before they come into our hotline to verify numbers on a property that they have a lead on. And then we talk about multiple exit strategies, which can sometimes lend to multiple different offer price points. So it's a little bit more of a complicated thing for me because I don't want to sit there and tell you a number that I didn't have all of the information, and it could actually be a different kind of offer. So, or a different kind of exit strategy. So that being said, my friends, let me get this banner down. Again, hit those like buttons for me. Hit them up. And I will get right into the comping. And we're going batch only today. So hopefully I can get in more comps than I usually do. 4206 Reinert Stone. This was Facebook user. I don't know. Baltimore, 3-1 bed, 3-bedroom, 1 bathroom is the info I have. Comps, it looks like maybe a row house. First thing I usually do is go over some of our appraisal rules. So I'm going to talk about that while I am pulling this up and comping. First thing I usually do when I pull a comp up, however, is I make sure to go to that street view. We got a tire shop or body shop or something like that across the street. I do go through it this fast because I don't really care about much else yet. So we have row houses here, okay? We're going to be looking for very similar comps and the like and kind situations that you're looking for as an appraiser. We want to assess like an appraiser. We want to have like and kind on our blueprint properties, right? So if your property does not have a pool or it does have a pool and your comp does or doesn't, and it's the opposite, right? You can plus or minus 10,000, plus or minus 20,000, depending on your market. Plus or minus 5 to 10,000 for a bedroom and a bathroom. obviously price per square foot, you plus or minus, and your comps kind of average out. You're looking for a blueprint property. You want 3 to 6 of those. Garages, I add or subtract 10,000 as well. So those are my basic rules for appraisal that you want to be looking at. Sometimes people get very held up in the fact that your property doesn't exactly look like it. RJ recently put out a TikTok that said something to the effect of, on one of his videos, it said something to the effect of Dunkin' Donuts black coffee and Starbucks black coffee, those are comparable. Frappuccino versus Dunkin' Donuts black coffee is not comparable. So that's kind of like a funny way to say exactly what we're trying to say here. I don't think he talked about Frappuccinos, just to be clear. He's over there yakking about, but it was funny. And I just gave you a TikTok plug, so shut the hell up. He's giggling at me. In case you guys are new here, we like to joke around. All right, I'm gonna get down to this one too. If you come in late, hey, you get driven to the bottom of the list, and I'm gonna dig. I need to start having you guys submit these before we go live. I hope you know I can still see them, but that way I don't have to write them down while I'm in the middle of it. So, all right. So I am guessing that we're going to have 2 pretty accurate stinking comps right here, an as is and an after, right? What I'm always looking for is that 3 to 6, right? And so sometimes you have to go and you got to shift your filter defaults around, right? Batch is great about making sure that the property class and then the property type is very similar, but I'm a little bit lost on this one if it is a single family row house or a duplex. So I need to go back here to my property details, and it says residential income multifamily. Sir, I need to know what kind of units we got here. And this might be holding us up from getting, yes, his TikToks are quite funny. This might be the reason that you might be having trouble getting comps. Typically houses like this are less difficult to get comps in these rows like this, these row houses, but this looks like it may have been turned into a duplex. So it's pulling for duplexes, right? So we may also go back in here on property types and do single family and figure out if that helps us on our filters, okay? But I'm going to flip through these photos really fast. I'm probably going to hit up my details here and pull up the property details of this and get this larger. I don't understand how this is multifamily or if this is actually just zoned. So I'm going to start looking into, oh my Lanta. It's also helpful. And one of the things that drives me bananas in pajamas, you guys, I need to know how many square feet we're dealing with on properties if it's not disclosed on these tools. So I don't have to go hunting it down and looking it up for you guys. Hopefully you've already asked your seller that. So bear with me. I have a really hard time with the fact that this may actually be listed in that condition for that price. So I'm going to pull up a couple of things. Oh, son of a biscuit. Facebook user, it's not zone multifamily, it's a regular townhouse. That's so crazy. Love you too, Facebook user. RJ's TikToks are the most glorious things. I can't finish reading that out loud. Oh my God, you guys can't see my face right now. I'm laughing so hard. I try not to cry. Oh, Robert Blaine and his commentary. It's so good. It's so good. All right, we're gonna try to pull up any kind of history on there to see if any like lingering MLS listing data is floating out there on the interwebs, because that is a little bit of frustration station for me in that you know, it is not pulling up just a single family or townhouse. It's just pulling up as a row house. So what we want to make sure that we do over here is we want to do single family, townhouse. I mean, let's just dig in. Row house. Now, they might all be listed like this over here, and that's fine, but I want to make sure I'm good on my filters. Hey, Jordan. Aw. Is that Annie? I love you and miss you. I will, you know. Oh, there you are. Hi, Annie, my love. That's Annie with Batch. And we, you know, girl, we come into Phoenix soon. It's been a whole month. I mean, you know, we can't stay away long. So that being said, 2 years old when I searched a specific address and pulled comps like this with Batch. You have been, Zach. Oh, you're breaking my heart. You just get in that hotline because I'll teach you one for. You better be here every week from now on. Is it finished, Annie? Oh, you better send me pictures. You better send me pictures. I can't wait. All right. Sorry, guys. Side note nation. I need to know what happened here. There we go. I scrolled out too far. Okay. So I went ahead and I changed those property types and the filters. A lot of times I'll back out and I'll go more years. So I might do 20 years and 25% square footage and just kind of see. I like to go a little bit broader. I like to dig in, and I normally do that in like 10 seconds, right, guys? So this right here, you click the details, it pulls that comp up separately in a new tab for you. I'm just going to go ahead and assume that's going to be a good comp for me, and I'm going to dig into it. So I hit that thumbs up button. These are very like and kind looking properties. Hit that thumbs up button, or you can hit that details tab as well. I am looking for, I already hit the thumbs up on that one, and I'm going to assume, I think, this other one over here, if I can. So as you guys have noticed, one of my like comping rules, I do not like to cross railroad tracks, major roads, bodies of water, even parks. I do not like to be on major roads. So I am taking into consideration comps that are also on major roads if our subject property is on major roads. I want to stay as close as possible to get my like and kind comps. So I can sit here and pull this up, and I can almost already tell you this is probably a commercial building, probably not a comp. I'm not even looking into it, right? Because one of these things is not like the others by a lot, right? We're talking about like 200s versus 100s. I know this one's higher, but it might be better rehabbed. And so now we're going to go look into our closest 3 comps, okay? And then the reason I like to go a little bit broader as well, you guys, is I like to see how stable the market is as far as price points go. I don't go so drastic that I'm not like looking at every property that's sold, but I do like to go a little bit broader to see what the market can what the cap is in that neighborhood. So like if you have nothing that's sold over 150 and you're trying to pull something price per square foot and you're like but I have an addition of 500 square feet, and it's the only property in the history of time in this entire neighborhood that has that addition. So I'm going to go price per square foot, and my property is now worth $100,000 more than any other property in the neighborhood. You would be wrong, and you will not be able to make money on that property as a flip. You might be able to rent it as like a rental, as a separate rental. But you have to be cognizant of those things when you're pulling comps. Now, this here comp that I'm seeing, very clean, looks like it's going to be a like and kind full remodel. I might check out the street view on it. I like it. I like it a lot. That's $29.24. Was that Grantley? I think I pulled this up. Yep. $29.20 for Grantley, sold last May. For 126, 130, 125, 124. So that's a really clean comp. That gives me reason to believe that might be, what we would get for this. I don't know why I have an outlier here. One of the things that you want to make sure to know is that had a basement finished out beautifully. We want to keep an eye on those things. In these row houses like this, you want to keep an eye for decks, covered parking, garage parking are very important to these price points. So those might be the things that make the difference. The yard, fenced in private yard makes a difference. So that's another reason I might hit that street view up, right? Because I'm not seeing that so far. This one right here, I do not know how in God's name. Is this fake? Did they fake photo? They faked this? 3034. Why did this one sell for less than the last one? It's got a full finished out basement. Very well remodeled, private yard. Is it a garage? I mean, we are in Maryland. It does snow there. These virtual staging or the camera is funky in these photos. So let's just try to figure out what the difference is between 3018 Grantley that sold for 164. Flipping through these photos again, guys. Sorry. I gotta try and figure out what the difference is, or if we should just include them all. 22. And it sold for more by a lot. So I really want to include it, but sorry, 3018. I'm going to try and look up that MLS description. I'm going to try to look it up online for just like I mean, that could be a factor, you guys. I mean, just that alone. We've got a body shop across the street. You know what I'm saying? Just making note. I'm not saying it is or is not. What I'm looking for is the realtor's description when they listed it, because a lot of times you'll see that description and they'll explain to you what is super extra about your property compared to what? In the world? This was sold at auction, apparently. Holy cannoli. Do you see that? Sorry, that's me getting distracted. But I always like to see that. Housing Authority of Baltimore online auction. Dang it. So that's from when the flipper bought it, not when they flipped it and sold it. So I'm just going to probably at this point not get super hung up on it, just because of one, the show, and two, I don't want it to take 8 years for me to hunt down the information that I need. But I mean, I like it as a comp. I would like to see if you can find out, just double check any of the garage or parking. If you can find that, sometimes in these states you can't. They don't disclose it. Just kind of like you don't see the square footage. And you would have to go through and look for somewhere that still has an old record of the listing description from the realtor. So my assessment right here is right off the cuff that we're going to be dealing with very much. I would be very, very, very comfortable at like a 135, 140 mark with this listing, only because I do have one right here that is active at 165. So this tells you that it is a realtor's opinion that this property remodeled can sell on the market for 165 right now. I'm not counting that as a full on, comp because it's active. And what you can do is, I'm not really like in love with adding these as comps, even though an appraiser is going to potentially add these as comps, right? But this neighborhood is telling me, we need to keep this around 135. This looks like it's been fully remodeled and sold. It's a very similar style of property. We do have a body shop across the street, so the market's going to be a little hard on us, but that's not necessarily going to be an appraisal issue. This looks like a hot enough market. We have a lot of actives. So that's all of these green ones that are listed higher than a lot of these sold ones. So that tells me that you've got some agents in here, especially towards this. I'm guessing this might have a factor. The location gives you some information. They're all updated and such too. This one's sold for 185, Now, the neighborhood might be a little bit different, and you have to be cognizant of that. So I'm super, super, super comfortable with that 140 mark, realistically, as an after repair value or market value after everything is in the same condition as these little remodeled properties right here. So that being said, John, anyone else running into the issue of filtering their properties by vacant, skip tracing, and then after skip tracing, they don't filter as vacant any longer? I've had a lot of issues with batch technical issues lately. I wish they would be more transparent about issues and fixes. I think you're saying you skip trace their properties by vacant. After script tracing, they don't filter as vacant any longer. I would work around that, and I would talk about maybe adding an extra layer of protection for however you're pulling that list with a tag. But I'm not 100% sure. I understand the question either. RJ's chirping in the background. It sounds to me like you have a very specific technical issue on your end, and you should reach out to your account manager. I have not had the experience of them not being transparent about their technical issues. In fact, I've had the opposite experience there. So it might be a matter of, if you're using just the chat line, they may not be 100% understanding, or they may not be able to replicate what you're saying because the language of it, right? So if you're utilizing that, or you're utilizing reaching out to your account manager, I guess would be my first two go-tos. Not sure I've ever experienced the issue that you're having, or the technical issue that you're having. But you also have to understand, we are very specific about how we pull and name our list and tag our data. we don't have issues with this. So it might just be how you're doing those things, or it might be an actual technical error, might be an update in now the way that you had done it before. You can't do it like that now. And, it's designed to be maybe used a different way. And I only say that not as like a criticism or whatever's. We have run into that before we started, before we were the masters that we are at utilizing. Like when we first came out of the gates, let me tell you, honey, I was doing this in a way that I would just, cringe at now. But it was still working better than anything else that we had used. So, yeah, I would have to just dig in. The records have been very slow to load 3 different times in the past 2 weeks. Like when you're filtering or when you're skip tracing. So they update their database daily. I'm just going to be honest. We use this daily. So I'm not really sure what kind of notification you're looking for, or if you have an issue that maybe is not conveying to them. The records have been slow. When you're looking at individual records, what has been slow? Like I'm just lost there. Skip tracing has been slow. The batch itself has been slow. Like or you're looking up, like in a property in and of itself. We have not experienced this, so I don't think that this is something that you should be expecting them to notify you of. Like, are you talking about when you do your list search here? We haven't experienced that. So again, I'm guessing there's either a problem with your computer, your internet, or random fluke, or they're not understanding how to answer your problem. So that might help solve you that. Usually lightning quick. Lately I've had issues. Sometimes it takes to load into it. We have not. And look, I am 100% so very no filter here. So I'm not trying to be like any type of way. We have not experienced that problem at all. And I'm just letting you know, I am in this all day, every day, as are many, 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 many people in our office. We do not have that experience. So it is not something I would think you should expect somebody to notify you of. And the tech team might be giving you an answer that they are like, the database is uploading right now, and it might not have anything to do with batch at all, from what it sounds like. But anyhow, yeah, we use it several different ways. Eddie, I love batch too. And look, if they have, let me tell you this, batch knows this. Everybody at batch knows this. Like if we have a technical issue, we talk about it. We have nothing to hide here. We're not just tooting their horn. We're not just putting it out there because we love it and saying it never has any issues. Trust me. There's a really weird little technical error that we run into every now and then, and it really is not a big deal. But every time we can populate it, we're like, I gotta screenshot this and send it over, because we always move along before we can populate it, and they can never repopulate it. And it's just a random little thing. It's a computer, it's software, it happens, it's a machine. It's it's never gonna always be perfect, and it can be utilized in many, many ways. No, we don't use property radar. Yeah, no, that's when we're here for it. Even though I've got a lot of properties to comp, and I'm going to be really far behind on it. But yeah, I'm here for it because I want you guys to have a good experience with the product that makes like is basically the lifeblood of our marketing and our business, you know. So going back to this comp here, I know like you could very easily do this 140. And that is a really good assessment on it. You're gonna have 4 comps. You might get a higher appraisal too, especially if some of these actives over here close and are used as comps. But you're gonna have to look into making sure why and if those have any covered parking, etc. And also, we do have a really huge issue here with comping this. And the reason I'm not going to give it a higher ARV is because I don't know the square footage. These comps don't have the square footage, and you literally have to dig in states like this. And it's very frustrating and unfortunate, but that is what it is. So we're going to move on to the next one, 210. I'm going to see if this pops up like this. Sampson Avenue. Again, this might be when I need more information on, unfortunately, for me to actually populate it because of the apartment situation. So let's try it with no results. Is this a duplex? It looks like it. Oh, man, I hate when this happens because it makes it really difficult. I have to have a way to pull this up. So a different way to pull the address up in and of itself. I used to always run into this problem in PropStream and Propelio as well, but it's like, well, pull up on Zillow, but this address does not pull up on any one of these other places. Let's go to trusty old. Interesting. So it looks like they still have some old data on here, right? We're probably not going to be able to get comps necessarily, but maybe if I type it in the same way versus the way that it's typed in. Dagnabbit. So I would have to look this up and figure out how it's probably actually done on tax records. Let me try that. Well, there's their billing. It's just not giving me an address. Son of a biscuit. And then oftentimes what's really interesting about this is like I will see it. Normally it would be the opposite. PropStream always used to give me the hardest time about it. Okay, well, I really hesitate to trust this from what I've experienced in the past 24 hours. But these condos, I can't get it to pull an address up. I wish I could just type in the parcel number. Wouldn't that be great? Probably not gonna work. I've never tried it though. I just confused the hell out of it. Ugh.
Okay, all right. Robert. Yeah. So, Kansas City. What's he at?
I'm gonna be real with you. I don't have enough information available to me to comp these. This information is clearly not correct if this is a duplex. It's a 2-1 on each side. I assume I can go. And this is the thing, you guys. If you're giving me a property, is this 2 condos? Is this 1 unit? Is it 2 units? Why does it have conflicting information? That's what I'm saying about the prop stream data. I've got this on Zillow. It looks like this was for half of this. Lance Condominiums. Is this 1 condo or 2 units? Because the address is misleading. See what I'm saying? 210 Sampson Ave, number B6. And it's just not pulling this up in here. I don't think this information is remotely correct. For a single condo, I got to figure out what we're trying to sell here. You know what I mean? Or what we're trying to buy here. That being said, yeah, I'm not seeing any comments come through. So dispatch leads have data on how many people are pulling the same list. No, maybe, yes, never had to ask. I think there's so many possible lists to pull out there. It's unreasonable to assume that with a nationwide company. But yeah. I mean, because you can stack them. It's not like, they're sitting there going, you could pull a list a lot of different ways on batch. So, I mean, our students might be pulling some of the same list because of the way we teach them to in the same market, but I still have multiple students getting deals in the same markets. Why did I go over here? See, habits. I was like, why is this not working? Let me just close out of that. That was not helpful at all. And I just don't have enough information on that property. It was weird. I don't know if it's 1 apartment. I'm assuming it was 2 apartments. I need to verify the square footage, and I can't pull the address up the way that it is on tax records, I guess, or on Zillow. So something funky. I've tried it, every combination of it that I could, but sometimes I've run into that, and I'll just change the way I type it in the system, and it for some reason will work. So All right, we're gonna move on to the next one. I mean, I'm sure they have some kind of statistics on it, but it's probably not really accurate when you think about it. He said, I'm sure they have some kind of internal information on that, but they don't disclose it. But yeah, realistically speaking, there's so many different ways to pull a list. Did I already pull this one today? I feel like I did. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe it's all in my head. I am thinking of a different St. Louis one. Yes to yoking. All right, going back to getting some comps done. We're going to move through it fast. Loving it, loving it, loving it. Not loving the neighbor, but this is not uncommon. Here we go. What do we got? This is probably going to be a very good after repair comp. I am guessing we're not really crossing any. That might be a major road, but it doesn't look like it. We've got an active one here, so that's good. Probably these are going to be as is. Notice the busted out windows, etc., etc. So that gives you a good basis for where the market is. Again, I am looking at the most common price points I'm seeing here, closest to the pin, if you're a golfer. So one really quick thing that I like to do, my loves, is I like to sort this by distance. I don't just like to change the filter. I understand what I'm dealing with the automatic filters. A lot of times I'll back this out if I'm not getting 3 to 6 comps right in here. Very close range. A lot of people will look at this and they'll be like, comps are all over the map. And I'm like, dude, you got to learn how to read the matrix, okay? You're looking at for an after repair. You have all kinds of different comps. I cannot stress this enough. Talk about this. Let's talk about these things. I'm going to make sure to take out this video clip. How many minutes are we in? 102 minutes. 102 minutes. Episode 13. Writing it down. Okay. I'm going to take this video clip down because you're going to use this everywhere you go. No matter what you do. If you buy and hold, if you're a flipper, if you're whatever. If you're marketing, if you're a wholesaler, if you're marketing, if you're looking for distressed properties for flip, you are looking at comps in as-is condition. You're looking at comps after multiple levels of repairs. So you can look for, just a clean rental rehab. Your property will not be the same if you put $20,000 into it or you put $40,000 into it. You don't run numbers based off of the highest comp you can find. Now, that being said, you might kind of get a similar appraisal because they're not really digging into that much. But the market value in and of itself versus, what you put into it, you have to understand. There is a thing as is market value. So when sellers will sit there and be like, you're just trying to lowball me. I saw a house that sold for, 200 or is listed for 200, etc. So I want 200. You're just trying to lowball me and undercut me. You're not trying to. You are offering market value based on the current condition. Your offer is relative to the condition. The market value is relative to the condition. That's before you buy it, and that's after you put money into it. So if you put a $20,000 rehab in it and you really needed to put a $40,000 rehab into it, don't expect the maximum market value to come off on your appraisal. Don't expect to get that on the market. I don't care what kind of market it's in. I mean, we have people out here claiming that anybody can go list the property on Zillow and sell it, and it's like, it's not factual. So many people don't understand the dynamics of real estate. So you guys got to pay attention to your as is comps as well. If somebody is paying $7,000 for exact same type of property right down the road, why are you going to think, and if you're seeing several of those comps like that, why are you going to think your offer price should be $60,000? You're not. It's not a property that you're going to be upside down in that property the second you buy it. You know what I'm saying? So that's not a good deal. Especially for those of you wholesalers out there. Please pay attention to as is comps. It makes me crazy. Anyways, that is my rant. Guys, pay attention not just to cherry picking the highest properties that sold in a neighborhood, okay? So that's why I'm going through here. I like to sort this by distance. I like to make sure that my default filters are giving me a very close range right here, right up next. Oh, wait, where's my little baby? Right here, right here. You've got a perfect circle. You see that? I don't really need to start venturing out over here to see if something sold for $230. I got what I need right here, right? So then I'm going to dig in and start saying, okay, could that be a relevant comp? Absolutely. This 820, that's something ain't right. That's a package. One of these things is not like the other, right? So I'm not messing with this 275 and this 260. Do they look similar? Yes, but this looks like it could be a pretty major road. Definitely not messing with these. Now, what some people are going to want to do here is they're going to want to go draw boundary lines. I don't need to do that. I'm just going to sort by distance instead of messing with that because it helps me to comp things quicker, right? So sometimes I will go broader on my filters to just get some more comps right up in here. But I have a really good amount of comps. We're going 45 is what, oh, this one's 23. This is also kind of across the road, but this tells us something about our market. Oh, this one's 19. You know, we have 20,000 to 45,000 is an as is comp for depending on how distressed as is market value of this property. You know it's going to be in this range if it is in this condition. By this condition, I keep thinking those windows might be busted out, but it doesn't look like they are. So you'll want to look into the as is comps as well, depending on what numbers you come up with, right? Just like you want to assume you're looking at roughly, you know, this 170 something $1,000 range really fast. You've got these thumbs up, you know, 175, 165, 170. Great little comps right there, super close to us. I don't have a bedroom count. Point being, I'm not going to dig into this so much and give you an exact comp because I just don't have all the information. So I'm just going to assume that we're in the 3 and 4 bedroom range, and you can kind of adjust a little if you need to down to 170 if it's like got a 2 bedrooms. But then again, you got a 165 right here as a 2 bedroom. You know what I'm saying? So do as you will with that. But yeah, you're going to want to make sure to get right around there. Go in and look at the photos. Does your property, if you put your rehab budget into it, will it look like this in the end? Okay, you have your ARV. Oh, that's cool. I like this little place. This is a good one, Joe. I think this is Joey's. Really like this. This is a good little spot. Now, what you also may want to do is really heavily consider when I'm going to list this property as a flipper, I'm definitely hoping that I can comp myself to this, right? But guys, if you don't have the details on something, it's really important. You're either going to have to go and dig in and see if you can justify. And what I mean by that is you guys have more information when you're analyzing the numbers, right? So if your property, not this one, of course, if your property has like a 2-car garage, if your property has a pool, if your property has benefits that some of these don't have, you've got to start stacking. You got to understand you can run on those higher comp numbers. On this particular one, you are looking at, you've got a couple right in here that are active on Pennsylvania Avenue for 205. You can consider that, but that has not sold. You've got 175. You can consider it, but it has not sold. You have data to believe right here that now I don't know why this one would be 290, but again, I'm tripping because we have a little bit more square footage, so that gives me reason to believe we're higher than that 27 or that that 170 175 range is what I was thinking that we would land at. We've got a 215,000, so it's gonna probably be a little bit higher. Just letting you know, Joey. What sucks right here is this one that's sold for higher in the 200s is not giving me any information. So I do go double check. You have a minimum ARV, in my opinion, of 175, depending on your exit strategy or your rehab budget or current condition. Now, that being said, current condition is going to matter on your offer, obviously. You could justify several different price points, but I would imagine the best plan, knowing what your data you're pulling is, the best plan for this property is probably a 170. Let me do some math. Let me do some quick math. Do. Da, 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 da. This cannot be correct. I don't even understand how that math is even possible. So that's like a miscalculation on their MLS. Oops. I'm really thinking 175. 175 is probably going to be the best. Oops. Hey, phone, stop talking. 175. I understand that you have comps to justify a potential higher. And if you hit me up in the hotline, if you can justify why those have better without looking and digging into it. But you've got a 215 sold here. You've got one active for 205. That makes a lot of sense. But from what I can actually see and have a burden of proof of, I've got 165, 163, 174. That's way more consistent. Make sense? And I can kind of pull it up because those being that they have, let me pop back over here, 1944 square feet. That's what's making me feel like that's very conservative because we have 1,900 square feet. I'm assuming we have at least 3 bedrooms and 1 bathroom as well. So this looks like a very good blueprint property to me, but the issue is that it's active. It is not sold. So when I look through these photos, it's not even super updated either. It's just clean. Whereas this 171, now this is a market that probably moves a little bit faster. But the 171 was pretty well updated. So, I mean, you could always just split the difference, to be honest with you, and assume that may not sell for that high. But again, we have one that sold at 232 right here that looks like was able to keep a lot of its historic charm. And we've got one that was very well updated that sold at 250. Oh no, I don't know what this one sold at. So I might look for listing photos from history there. Very minimum 175 with a cheaper rehab budget, but easily comfortable at 200 if you do it to the nines, if that makes sense. So please note that when I am comping, I am mentioning a rehab budget. Please note that you can have more than one list price. Please note that we have a plan for like a 175 and we have a nicer plan for a 200. You can run the numbers both ways. I do as a flipper, and I'm going to say, do I want to spend more time, materials, money, energy, holding costs to say that I sold this for 200 if I'm going to make the same exact amount of money, or do I want to actually come in a more competitive price point with a smoke and clean property that's more affordable for my neighborhood? I don't always over rehab. I'm not on HGTV yet. Okay. Just saying. So let's get on to the next one. Sometimes you guys, I forget to, I'm trying to get in here. I've got a lot of you guys still adding in comps. Derek, good to see you. I'm glad you're here. Fire damaged. Ruh-roh. Spaghetti-o. Where's the best place to send properties? For comping, I assume, would be this chat. But you're so far down here on the list. I've got like 20 people. Guys, I'm just letting you know, if I don't get to your property today, because I'm not going to get to a lot of yours, there's absolutely no way it's possible. RJ's fixing to jump on a live. You're going to have to send me a DM. I'm just letting you know. I have gotten through 4 properties so far today. And I've got a list of 3 more on here. And I just had, since we really got into it, I see at least 3 or 4 more. So if I do not get to your property, please, for the love of all that is holy, send me a DM. I'm happy to still comp this for you. I don't want you waiting for next week, okay? That is not what we are here for. Now, I'm only going to do it if you DM me. My name is spelled Cassi. I'm going to make you follow me and shit. I mean, I just am. I'm going to get some more out of this. You're going to follow me. You're going to hit that like button. If I see that you didn't, I might make you follow me on another platform. I might just do it, and I'll comp a property for you. It's a good exchange. No, go hit me up in my DMs. If you're not already friends with me, add me as a friend, because I get a lot of friend requests. I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm pretty much out of friends on Facebook. I've got like a handful left. So if like we don't have a lot of mutual friends, I'm just being honest. I got like 900 people in there in my friend requests. If we don't have a lot of mutual friends, or you're not like, hey, I was watching the Comp Queen show and you didn't get to my property, I'm probably not going to pay attention. So you've definitely got to like let it be known, just like you're dealing with the seller. So, yeah, I don't know what you're laughing at, but I just speak the facts. I mean, it's a reciprocal thing here. I got to get likes. I got to get follows. I got to get friends. I'm trying to help more people out here. Okay. And yeah, I want to comp your properties for you. Obviously, that's why I'm here. So we're going to try to blow through a couple more fast. I don't know whose this is because it's from the beginning of the show. I usually sit here and go like for an hour and a half realistically every week, but I have literally gone 2.5 to 3 hours because I had that many people on here trying to get them comps. Ooh, lordy. 1612 square feet, 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom. Okay, so this is one of those great examples for me. I go a little bit broader. I want to see what my market's doing. Hit up those filters. I've always got sold active pendings right here. Batch is great about doing these property classes. This is a great example of why I'm talking about I'll go a little bit broader because I don't want to try to cross. This is a major road, but you can see there's a lot of major roads going on over here, but I don't like to cross a major road. But if you have like a really interesting little area like this, like you got an apartment complex, a residential area, and then you've got, seemingly major roads and commercial kind of stuff going on all around this. Sometimes you've got to do what you got to do. By you've got to do what you've got to do, that means if you're pushed to it, you've got to broaden out your filters, broaden out your criteria, and you've got to logistically go to what an appraiser is going to have to pull to give a value to this property from sold, active, or pending deals on this. That's why I don't exclude active and pending. However, it is great to use active and pending in consideration of what your market value is. However, sold's got more power. Just saying. So we always try to go with solds, but not negate what is on the market. Now, this thing does not look very fancy. It's clean, outdated. Oh, Lord Jesus. That's got to be a bar that was added later after the fact. All right. So one of the very first things I do if I don't go, obviously covered parking is a problem here. Tallahassee, Florida. What's interesting about Floridians is oh, goodness me. I did not mean to do that. What's interesting about Floridians is a lot of times they don't care about having their covered parking. What do we got? This is a little interesting area, isn't it? Okay, so a lot of times what I love to do is this is our closest comp, making sure that you are going to go back and filter. I might go filter out even further. I am wondering if some of these are I'm wondering if some of these are actually sold and then they built like an apartment complex there. Robert, go outside to yell at your car insurance company. Guys, I hate to say this, but we have no choice. We have no choice. At least these property, I don't love going around and around and about across these major roads here, but it looks like an appraiser is not probably going to have much of a choice. You know what I'm saying? So I've gone very broad on my my criteria. You know, if we completely ignore the build year and go even broader on the square footage and look at what our price per square foot keeps averaging for what we select, is about the only other way. Now, that's not a comp in this scenario because first and foremost, a whole different kind of property. Obviously, this $3 million house was part of a package. $144,000 is probably a decent comp. So I'm going through and I'm selecting all of those that make sense on the map, right? So I've selected these. Now, it sucks because some of them are further away than I would like, but that's just looking like that's going to be the ordeal here, right? We have a very consistent set of numbers right here. So this tells you about your market. So I am not as worried about crossing the major roads because we don't have an option, nor is an appraiser going to have an option. They're going to pick these up, put them in their software. They're not going to sit there and say the aftermarket value of it's $188,000 necessarily, though. So you've got to sit here and you've got to look at your set of comps and look at what you're dealing with compared to what your property is. I mean, these are not crazy on the rehab budget, and you address that for what you're buying for. You also want to be cognizant of, you know, obviously if you're looking as an exit strategy for a rental, you might want to check the street view of a couple of your oh Jesus, is this a duplex as well? I'm just now noticing that. Son of a biscuit. Well, yeah, I need more information on that then. Is that why I'm not getting? Did not even notice. Yeah. Kind of needed to know that. Or if that's the wrong property. I don't know who this is. Hey, thank you. Thanks, Sam. I'm so glad you're here. It's a duplex. Is it rented? I mean, look, I am running duplex numbers based on rent rates first and foremost more than anything. I just ran a whole ass set of comps based on it being residential, single family. No, it says multifamily. That's why we didn't have freaking comps everywhere. I was like, this is kind of rare for Tallahassee, Florida. So let's just double check that our comps. Let's go into our comps details. Let's get back to this. I'm going to pull up the details on this now. On these individual comps, right? I wanted to pull this fast so I could get a couple more in, damn it. I might have skipped over this one. But yeah, rent rate's super important on this. Is this a duplex? Let's find out. Has an additional bedroom. Let's make this. Let's do this. I think this is a duplex. Now that I'm looking closer at it. No wonder it was so not outdated. Know what I'm saying? Are they just not all listed as multifamily? Yeah, multifamily. Well, the thing that sucks about this is I'm assuming it's a duplex. Let's look. You might look for the previous listing. I love this for whatever. It depends on if it's tenant occupied. You're going to have to go look up rent rates. I always look up rent rates on, okay. Here you go, Michael. Let me show that to the peeps. Zachary Hipskind. Will you put that in the hotline for me, darling? Because I'm not going to get to it. Okay, so people using the 1% rule. This is no offense to you, Michael, but a lot of people do this. 1%, you want your all-in value, including closing and holding costs when you evaluate it. I always check market rents in a very different way, $850 to $900 per unit. I always am going to go check what landlords are listing their properties for on Zillow. I don't really trust anything. You can run it on Rent-A-Meter and you can look at the comps and batch for the rent rate. But sometimes it's weird because they pull those algorithms based on whether it's one unit or two. So I'm getting the flag. I gotta go. This sucks. I hate it when I can't pull all your comps for you. But as far as like what, you might get cashed out for on that one, I mean, that could actually really be bumped up very easily. That 188 could suffice. I didn't get to look into, I don't think the 299 is realistic. I don't think the 205 is realistic, or they're the similar comps. So rather than saying 165, yeah, I think you could get cashed out at 185 at that from a bank if you bought it. So that's what I'm saying, which would make sense, but you wouldn't be all in for, I won't even go there because I don't 100% know the details of the property. So that being said, whoever had Pearl Street, whoever had 19th Street and McNeil Street, hit me up in my DMs, as well as Zach, shoot that to the hotline. You found 0 comps. You found 0 comps? What do you mean? We got one right there. There you go. I just made your day, and I was like, man, why am I having a hard time pulling comps? All right. Good to see you guys here. I look forward to seeing you next week. And if I didn't get to your property today, I'm pretty sure there's like a good solid 6 or 7 of them. Hit me up, Instagram, Facebook, whatever. And we'll see you guys next week.